Right, and hello, my name is Ray Lavery and I am now 1 year on testosterone. Today is my birthday. I am now 48 years old, but in actual fact, I'm also one because that's how long I've been on testosterone. So I've been doing these videos more or less on a monthly basis for the last year, and I'm going to keep doing them because I don't feel that the changes are finished yet. But I thought I would do the proverbial 1 year and let's see what's going on. So here's what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do the pictures of me as a kid and a baby and school, and because I always fast forward those. So here's what I am going to do though. I am going to show you the difference. I'm going to show you the difference first of all in voice. I will do 1 year, then 6 months and now so that you can tell the difference. So you should be listening to that now.
Hi, my name is Ray Lavery. This is me 3 days on testosterone.
My name is Ray Lavery and I am now 6 months on testosterone. Excellent. That's the vocals done. Now, because there's been major changes and the changes are still going, my voice is still cracking, it's still dropping, I still can't sing. Tried to sing Happy Birthday a couple of weeks ago. It was horrendous. I don't want to put you through that. However, I will show you what I looked like. So, rather than showing you the photographs, I'm going to do this. So, this is me about 6 years ago. So, fundamentally different? Sure, but not really. Obviously, I look very similar, but the face has definitely changed an awful lot, and that is fine. And in actual fact, the changes have been very, very slow. I was on gel from the beginning because I wanted the changes to be slow because I didn't know what was happening, and vocal changes, and I didn't want entrapment and all the stuff that I said in other videos. However, it's now really starting to take hold, and my voice is continuing to drop, and it will continue to drop, and I know that because it's still breaking. So that is fun. I am now being recognized as male on the phone, so not all the time, but most of the time, and that's absolutely phenomenal. So in that year, a lot has changed, but also a lot has stayed the same. It turns out that no matter what you do in your life, you take yourself with you. So I have been with me along this entire journey, but I would like to say that there are some very big differences between now and a year ago. So this time a year ago, when I was going to start on my first day, I'm delighted to put the gel on myself. I was terrified. I was utterly terrified. I had no idea what was going to happen. No promise of what changes would happen or not, or whatever whatever was going to go. And I didn't know. So I was literally taking a step into the unknown. I'm now a year down the line, and I have been, of course, watching myself in the mirror every day, looking for changes, examining my face and listening to my voice and doing vocal analyzers and all of this kind of stuff. And it's been fun to do that because it's part of the journey, and I have enjoyed that. And I have seen changes, though the changes have been very, very slow. But that's okay. I'm all right with that. I don't need things to go at a million miles an hour, and it has suited me. I am now at the point of frustration where I do want things to speed up, and I have started that process because I've moved from the gels to the injection, which is moving things a little bit faster. So effectively, I am probably on a timeline about 6 months for those guys out there who started on the injections. Having said that, a huge thing that has changed is that when I'm sitting in front of you right now a year later, I feel very calm. I feel very calm. I feel very sure about myself. My confidence levels have gone up enormously. How I see myself has completely changed. I am just a much calmer person. I'm a much happier person. I laugh a lot more. I'm much more easygoing. Not that I was terribly not easygoing beforehand, but I was very stressed and, angry and angsty and all this kind of stuff. And all of that has just gone out the door. Of course, you have normal life stresses, but everybody has that. But on an ongoing basis, my fundamental is significantly happier. So I know all of those changes are on the inside, and nobody else can see that except me. And actually, excuse me, you can, because the people who interact with me on a daily basis have noticed that I'm calmer. So from a personality point of view, of course, nothing has changed. From a talking about calmness. I'm definitely a lot calmer. However, I'm also less likely to take crap. So I am quicker to react. I'm quicker to stand up for myself. I'm quicker to point something out. I'm significantly less emotional. One of the things, when I say emotional, sadness, I have all full range of emotions, no problem there. But when it comes to the idea of feeling sad, I haven't felt sad in a very long time. I haven't cried in over a year. It just hasn't been a thing. And I can tell you that leading up to being on testosterone, I was pretty much crying on a daily basis because I was so scared and I didn't know what was going on and would this change everything and was my life going to explode and etc. etc. And no, it didn't. Okay, nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong at all. So I feel much calmer. I feel much better in myself. Now, obviously, a big change in that is top surgery. Now, top surgery was a very big thing. It's a very big thing for everybody, and it is a very big thing, so don't take it lightly. And I can tell you right now that I have dramatically underestimated how big that actually was. So a couple of months ago, in the end of January, I went to the States to get top surgery. No, I'm not going to show you because we shot a documentary on it, so I'm afraid you're going to have to wait for that. But it was incredibly successful. Dr. Chandler did an amazing job, and everything is absolutely phenomenal. Now, I thought that after 3 months, I'm sort of 2.5 months post-op now, that I would just sort of be back to normal and everything would look great. No, I underestimated that. It's going to take several more months, maybe 4 or 5 months, before the skin starts to reattach properly, before, things just look a little better, before I'm able to actually go back and work out full time. Because I'm only able to do little bits. I keep splitting the nipple. Sorry about that, Dr. Chandler, but that keeps happening. So I'm overextending myself. However, that is a huge, huge thing. And since I've had that done, I can tell you that my mindset has gone from here to all the way up here. Okay, I feel completely different. My confidence levels in myself, how I feel when I look in the mirror, whereas I used to look in the mirror and go, oh, now I look in the mirror and I go, yeah. And that is amazing. I absolutely love that. I would never go back. It's a phenomenal feeling, and it's one that I'm going to be able to carry for the rest of my life. I don't think I'll ever get bored at looking here. It's brilliant. So that has been absolutely phenomenal. Another big thing that has changed, and this has changed very, very recently, and I literally mean within the last month, is I am now starting to pass. So Christmas time, 3 months ago, didn't pass at all. Okay, I did not pass at all. But now I am. Now I am on the phone most of the time. I'm also passing out and about. People are calling me man, buddy, sir. I like that one. Mate, stuff like that. I'm getting a lot of that. So people who don't know me are starting to recognize me. Also, a very big change, and I wouldn't have done this 3 months ago, is I am now able to use the men's bathroom, and nobody is trying to punch me. And I was terrified of that, as I've seen all kinds of horrible stories and heard all kinds of horrible stories. And so that is now not an issue whatsoever. I can walk into the men's bathroom, nobody looks twice at me, and off we go. Phenomenal. Okay, that has literally been in the last month that has been possible. It was not possible before that. And to me, that is an absolutely massive change. And I'm very pleased about that, because I didn't think I'd actually ever get to that stage. So that is phenomenal. Also in the last year, I started a meetup group. So it turns out that I didn't know anybody, but it also turns out that nobody else knows anybody. So anybody who is transgender, there's loads of stuff on Facebook, but there's very little face-to-face. And so what I did was I set up a meetup group to meet other people, because I didn't know anybody. I wanted to know what was going on for them, what's happening for you, what are the changes for you, comparison, make some new friends, stuff like that. So that has been phenomenal. It's been growing very, very slowly, but it's really starting to take traction now. So we're over 280 members, I think, and that is not bad in a 5-month period to have that many. We now hold 2 meetups a month, and I'm about to add some more, and we're having loads and loads of people coming. What I'm seeing in that is that there's a lot of people who are coming. They are making friends. They are making their own groups. People themselves they're much calmer as individuals, because they have this outlet, because they're able to make new friends. There's groups of ladies who are hanging out, groups of non-binary hanging out, groups of FTMs who are hanging out, and that's something that they didn't have before. So I'm very proud to have been able to give that, but I also partake in it because I also now have my voice, and I didn't have that before, and that is absolutely amazing. Okay, that is a completely new change, and I am delighted to have that, and I'm delighted to be able to provide that for other people, and I will continue with that, and I've loads of plans as to how to increase that to include more people in that. So that has been a big change. That meetup has been a godsend for me, as it has for so many others, and I hope to continue that. So those kind of are the main things, to be honest with you. I suppose the other thing I'm going to mention, because I am quite happy about this, is the facial hair growth. Now, it's the last one. You can probably see it there, but not very much. I don't have very much. But then I started this journey assuming that I wouldn't have any facial hair for about 8 to 9 years. And even then, it would be rubbish because that's kind of how our family goes. We're not very hairy. However, I have been taking let me just pull it out now, the minoxidil. So this one here, I've been using this one here under him, so it's Freshman's, if you can see that backwards in there, and that has made a big difference. Apply that twice a day, it's grand. So that, I now have a fairly defined hair. Like, I play with this all the time. I don't know what I did with my hands beforehand, but it's relatively visible. There's a line under here which is quite amusing because that's where my double chin starts, so it just looks like that, but it's starting to fill out. So I've hair everywhere, but it's very fine. This stuff here is starting to get darker. I've hair here, and it's noticeable, and I've hair here, and that's noticeable. And I think that ability is a large part as to how I am now passing is basically this. But I would say that my face is definitely more square than it was. Certainly more square than in this picture here. So I don't know if you can do a comparison. But I will actually put up the pictures of the day 1, day 6, and now, so that you can basically see the difference of the face shape. But that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing the going back into childhood. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, particularly me. So yeah, so the facial hair has been fun. Muscle growth, no, I'm not able to work out after top surgery, really, so that's had absolutely nothing. I am growing a very effective beer pack on my belly, that is great. Weight has roughly stayed the same. I still don't feel the cold. I love that. My feet have definitely grown. I'm about a size bigger on that. I'm definitely bulkier. I'm definitely a bit wider. I've had to change my clothes a few times over the years. When I mean change clothes, I mean literally the entire wardrobe has had to go because I can't fit shirts on anymore. And even shirts that I bought 3 months ago have had to go, and I've had to redo it again. So that is continuing to happen. I don't think I fundamentally look different, but I am. Anyway, there we are. That is me. I am 1 year on testosterone. I didn't think I was going to make it this far. What I did think I was going to make it this far, it just felt like it was a really long time and that I'd never get to this 1 year period. And now, of course, like everybody else says, it's kind of like a flash in the pan. It wasn't a flash in the pan because so much has happened, and I've had a great year, and I've been so lucky that I've been so supported by all my friends, all my family. Everybody has been absolutely amazing. Work has been absolutely amazing. People that I've only met once or twice have been absolutely amazing. In fact, I've had hardly any. In fact, I've only had one vague, almost not really a bad reaction, and it was more like, I don't know who you people are. That was it. So if that's the worst that I can get out there, thank you London for that, then brilliant. So, but everybody else has been incredibly supportive. Nobody has batted an eyelid. Lots of questions have been asked. They've all been answered, and that is great. So there we go. This is me, Ray Lavery, 1 year on testosterone. So see you again soon. Bye.